The standing orders provide for an Indigenous Welcome to Country ceremony at the first meeting of a new Parliament after a general election. The ceremony takes place in the Great Hall and on the forecourt, where members and senators, Indigenous representatives and guests assemble. Indigenous elders with a traditional connection to the Canberra area perform a welcome ceremony.
Good morning and welcome to the beautiful lands of the Ngunnawal.
And the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition make brief responses.
Imagine us not doing it.
Upon conclusion of the ceremony of welcome, members are summoned by the bells to the House of Representatives chamber, where each member takes his or her allocated seat. The Sergeant-at-Arms, an officer of the House with important ceremonial and administrative duties, places the mace, the symbol of the House's authority, on the brackets below the table. The Clerk of the House, head official of the Department of the House of Representatives, reads the Governor-General's proclamation, calling the Parliament together.
Acting under Section 5 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Australia, appoints.
The Usher of the Black Rod, the Sergeant's counterpart in the Senate, seeks admittance to the House. The Black Rod invites members to attend the Senate chamber, where the Deputy of the Governor-General will read the authority to open Parliament.
Honourable members, the Usher of the Black Rod with the message from his Deputy of His Excellency, the Governor-General.
Honourable members, the Deputy of His Excellency, the Governor-General, desires your attendance in the Senate.
The first of the day's 3 processions begins. The procession to the Senate chamber is led by the Sergeant-at-Arms, who is followed by the Clerks of the House, then by government and opposition frontbenchers, and then backbenchers. The chair of the Senate is occupied by the Deputy of the Governor-General, usually the Chief Justice of the High Court. The Governor-General's deputy asks the Clerk of the Senate to read the authority to open the Parliament.
The Clerk of the Senate will now read the instrument of appointment.
Appointment of a Deputy to the Governor-General to declare open the Parliament. I, General...
Members return in procession to the House of Representatives chamber, observing the same order of precedence as before. When all members are assembled, the Sergeant announces the entry of the Deputy of the Governor-General.
Honourable members, the Honourable Stephen John Gagler, AC, Justice of the High Court of Australia.
Members stand as they make their way to the Speaker's chair. The Clerk of the House then reads the authority for the Governor-General's deputy to swear in members and tables the returns to writs for the general election.
For all states and for the Australian Capital Territory and the Northern Territory.
When being sworn in, members may choose to make an affirmation of allegiance or to swear an oath on a religious text. During the swearing-in ceremony, members are called to the table in groups, beginning with the government, then opposition frontbenchers. The Clerk of the House administers the oath of allegiance to each group. With the swearing-in complete, the Clerk hands the oath or affirmation forms to the Deputy of the Governor-General, who signs them. With the departure of the Deputy of the Governor-General, members participate in the election of a Speaker. Proceedings commence when the Clerk calls for nominations.
The next item of business is the election of a Speaker. Is there a nomination for Speaker? Call the member for Robertson.
Thank you, Mr Clerk, and I move that Mr A.D.H. Smith do take the chair of this House as Speaker.
And a seconder for each.
Is the nomination seconded? I call the member for Cornwall.
It's a great pleasure to be given the opportunity to second the nomination for the member for Casey as Speaker of the House of Representatives in the 46th Parliament.
If there is only one nomination, the new Speaker is led to the chair by the nominee and seconder. It is traditional for the Speaker to make a show of struggling against his or her escorts, as if unwilling to accept the chair. In the early days of the English Parliament, a Speaker's term of office could be cut short by impeachment or execution. The Speaker thanks the House.
I wish to express my grateful thanks for the high honour the House has been pleased to confer upon me.
Once the Speaker has taken the chair, The mace is placed on the table, and party leaders respond with short, congratulatory messages.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I be the first to congratulate you on your election again as Speaker?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the opposition, I offer you my sincere congratulations on your re-election to the office of Speaker.
When there is more than one nominee for the speakership, a secret ballot is held in the chamber. After nominations have been received and the nominators have made short speeches in support of their candidate, the clerks ring the bells for 4 minutes.
In accordance with Standing Order 11, the bells will be rung and a ballot taken.
Officers of the House hand out ballot papers, marking off the name of each member as he or she receives their paper. Members remain in their seats during the vote and simply write the name of their preferred candidate on the ballot paper. The papers are then collected in wooden boxes. It's a secret ballot, so there's no record of how each member votes. The clerks count the votes, and the member with the greatest number is declared elected.
The result of the ballot is Mrs B.K. Bishop, 93 votes, Mr Mitchell, 56 votes. Mrs B.K. Bishop is declared elected.
After lunch, the bells ring again to call members to the House of Representatives chamber. Proceedings are now conducted by the Speaker, who invites all members to accompany him or her to the Members' Hall for presentation to the Governor-General.
I shall be glad if honourable members will accompany me when I present myself to His Excellency, the Governor-General.
Meanwhile, the Governor-General arrives at the forecourt of Parliament House. The anthem is played as he or she takes the royal salute and inspects the Guard of Honour. Members proceed to the Members' Hall, led by the Sergeant-at-Arms, this time immediately followed by the Speaker. The Speaker is the first to meet the Governor-General, who extends to the Speaker the authority to swear in new members. The Speaker then introduces all members to the Governor-General. When the Governor-General leaves the Members' Hall, members return to the chamber. The Governor-General proceeds to the Senate and assumes the chair, flanked by personal staff. The Governor-General then requests the Usher of the Black Rod to summon members of the House of Representatives to the Senate chamber.
Black Rod, please let the members of the House of Representatives know that I desire their attendance in the Senate.
The Black Rod again makes the long walk down the Senate chamber, across the Members' Hall to the House of Representatives, and raps on the door 3 times with the Black Rod.
Mr. Speaker, the Usher of the Black Rod with a message from His Excellency, the Governor-General.
Admit the Usher of the Black Rod.
Mr. Speaker, His Excellency the Governor-General desires the attendance of honourable members in the Senate.
Next comes a second procession to the Senate. The Sergeant-at-Arms, Speaker, clerks, government and opposition frontbenchers and backbenchers retrace the steps of the Black Rod.
Daranuna Daranunawal. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Ngunnawal people, and pay my respects to their elders past and present, emerging leaders and all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders gathered here today. Honourable Senators and members of the Parliament of Australia.
The Governor-General addresses the Parliament for about half an hour, after which his or her official secretary hands copies of the speech to the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives. At this time, a 19-gun artillery salute is fired outside Parliament House by Australia's Federation Guard. The Vice-Regal Party is then led out of the Senate chamber by the Black Rod. With the departure of the Governor-General, members take part in the final procession of the day, back to the House of Representatives chamber.
Speaker, I have the honour to inform the House that following the election held on 18 May 2019, the Governor-General commissioned me to form a government.
The Speaker calls on party leaders to announce details of the ministry, the shadow ministry, party whips and other arrangements. At this point, some formal business, usually the introduction of a bill, is transacted.
Speaker, I present the Agricultural Legislation Repeal Bill 2019 and the explanatory memorandum.
The Clerk.
First reading, a bill for an act to repeal certain obsolete acts relating to agriculture and for related purposes.
This is a symbolic gesture to show that the House is in charge of its own program of business.
His Excellency the Governor-General in the Senate chamber when His Excellency was pleased to make a speech to both Houses of Parliament.
After the Speaker formally reports the Governor-General's speech, a committee of government members is appointed to prepare the address in reply.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I move that a committee consisting of Mr Thompson and Mrs Archer and the mover be appointed to prepare an address in reply to the speech delivered by His Excellency the Governor-General.
The address is debated at future sittings, and it's during this debate that many new members make their first speech to the House.
Women feel fulfilled in our workplaces and in our homes, and where our children benefit from this.
Returning members may also take this opportunity to speak to the House. At the conclusion of business, usually sometime after 5 p.m, the Speaker adjourns the House until the following day, when the work of the House begins in earnest.